problems I had acting when I was young, when I was 20, are the same exact problems I have now. I mean, they're the same traps I fall into, the same mistakes. I mean, you know, exactly the same stuff. You know, maybe I can, you know, slide around it. But and often when you work with people who haven't worked with you before, they don't see that.
Right.
You fool them,
Right.
and then you fool
you're
yourself.
better at it.
But in here, in this kind of work, you're not fooling anybody.
Right.
The exercises were really wonderful, but the tendency was that you're all prime racehorses. The bell rings, and you're going to tell the story. You're going to tell the story. Out the window goes where you should be. Because that's what you're paid for. Unfortunately, is to get in there and tell the story. They can't see what you're doing with your instrument, but we can address what you're doing with your instrument.
I've had these same problems all my life, you know. And I come back, I think the question was the value of revisiting these exercises now, 70,000 years later, is that the same problem, for the same wiring problems, the same roadblocks do exist for me, but I bring a maturity and a consciousness that I didn't have at 20.
Yeah.
So I can look at the exact same problem with new eyes, fresh eyes, more perceptive eyes, and, you know, not that it helps change anything, but, you know, I mean, you know, there's more of a possibility of actually expanding.
Now we can see it clearly like an X-ray, whereas when we have the trappings of the language and the costume and the music and all of the paraphernalia, it's harder to tell what's wrong.
Right.
It's like, it must be the other actor, or it must be the director, or whatever. But at least we know when we're working against this, resistance, these difficulties, we know this is my instrument where I need to push, or where I need to expand.
As they speak about acting and doing it, they're doing something I recognize partly, and then I see there are parts of it I had nothing to do with. That they've changed, they've modified, they've enriched, they've picked up other solutions to the problems that I wasn't aware of or didn't know how to do. And so it's a very good experience to be with advanced actors who you can set up so that they release, and then you learn so much. I'm sure from this experience I'm a much more refined teacher than I had been 10 years before this.
We had a couple of Maryland students join us in that LA class, and I've involved one of my Brattleboro students in this project for generational dimension, if you will, and the mix is great.
You know, I'm making some ugly mistakes up there, and it's great because it just becomes fodder for more discussion about what we're actually doing.
The young actors actually bring something to the older actors, and the older actors bring something to the younger actors. The older actors are less self-conscious about getting the exercises right, and they bring an enormous amount of experience, sometimes wisdom, one hopes.
Working with older actors, I think there's just a level of freedom that they've achieved, an ability to risk more, to put themselves out there more, and in a way where as they do it, there's something elegant and gracious about it. And I frequently feel when I risk silly and stupid.
In my other acting classes and my other acting work, it's been product-oriented enough that one could fake their way through it, basically. But Richard won't stand for it. I mean, you get right up there and you have no choice but to do the thing in front of you.
And it takes a while for the young actor to get to the point where they can leave themselves alone, as it were, leave everything at the door that they prepared and be naked in the face of the other actor. Like that wonderful boy that you had in here who made every mistake. He was so marvelous. He made every mistake in the book. He was a joy. We should have gotten that on tape. You're my brother.
It was so great because I remember Manuel's class doing that exact same thing.
He made every mistake in the book, and it was marvelous. You wanted to kiss him.
I guess this is the thing. He's incredibly engaged as a teacher. He's excited when the work is good, when people are on to something. It's obviously, in many ways, his life's work, and you can see that. You can feel that in the class.
What began as a book has become a video project. Seasoned actors meeting with younger actors around the teaching of Richard Edelman. Our plan is to film 6 classes. We're calling it Actors in Practice. Because whatever the outcomes of our careers and our lives, there is still and always the craft itself, the practice of acting. And that's what keeps us going. That's what keeps our creative spirits alive.
What I love about acting is that I get to use myself up. I get to use, it asks everything.
To live your life as an actor, the goal is to keep growing and to get to that point on a more consistent basis where you are fully giving yourself over to the work.
I mean, and that's what makes this a sacred profession, is that we dare go to those places that we're not supposed to go to.